Today we're going to look at consecutive integers, even integers, and odd integers with problem solving and solving equations. So this is a scenario that it's a struggle. It really is. The differences between how to identify integers with even integers, with odd integers, and it becomes challenging at times. So that's why I want to spend some time going over this today. So let's just talk about consecutive integers first of all. Number 8 says the sum of page numbers on the open book is 629. What are the page numbers? So we have two page numbers. You open a book and you'll see page like 411, and then you go to the next page and it's page 412. Those are integers. Integers are those clean counting numbers, 0, like -1. I was like thinking -1, -2, or 1, 2, 3, and so on. So we're talking about page numbers, so we know we're going to be looking at positive integers. Integers are not decimal values, like not 1.5 or 2.7. So page numbers, you open it, it's page 411. The very next page is 412. So what we're trying to figure out is, well, if I open up the book and I add the two page numbers together, I'm getting 629. So the first page on the left and the second page on the right, I add these two numbers together, I get 629. But I have no idea what these page numbers are right now. I just know that these two page numbers are going to add to 629. If I call my starting point x, though, my first page, I open up this book, and this is x, what does the next page have to be? It has to be x plus what number? 1, because you add just 1 to the page number. Thinks I'm writing words. So you just add 1 to the page number. Just like I said, if I'm at page 411, how do I get to the next page? I add 1. That is now 412. I do 411. Just call that x, an unknown page, plus 1, you get the very next page. So in our situation here, we have x, and then the second page is going to be x plus 1 equal to 629, and then we solve. So x plus x is 2x plus 1 equals 629. We solve for x by subtracting 1. 2x equals 628 divided by 2. And I'll do 628 divided by 2 is x equals 314. Now again, this is not the answer. It says what are the page numbers? So we know the starting page is 314. So that's the first page. And then the second page is going to be 314 plus 1, which is going to be 315. Consecutive integers. The next integer after 314 is 315. So that's integers. Now the struggle comes in when you get in this discussion of odd integers or even integers. Like that's where people really start to fall apart a little bit. Number 9 says the code to a lock is 3 consecutive odd integers whose sum is 51. 3 consecutive odd integers. So let's just think about what odd integers are. Odd integers are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and so on. So we're trying to create a sequence where the 3 numbers is 3 consecutive odds. And if we add those 3 consecutive odds together, they total up to 51. We have to identify a starting point because we don't know what our starting point is. We don't know if the number is 9. We don't know if the number is 13. We don't know. So we're going to call the starting point x. Now, if I'm designating a starting point of x, I have to identify x as an odd integer. So x is odd because it's saying 3 consecutive odd integers. So I'm saying the first number is x. If my first number is x, what does my second number have to be? Think about it. Just think about logic. Put it back to numbers. If I have 5, what's the next odd integer after 5? It's 7. How do I get from 5 to 7? I add 2. 5 plus 2 is 7. Going back to integers, to get to the next integer, if I'm at 5, what's the next integer after 5? It's 6. X plus 1. 5 plus 1 is 6 plus 1. You just add 1 to get consecutive integers. But if we want to skip, we have to add 2. And you might be thinking, well, aren't we getting even integers then if I'm adding 2 because 2's are even? No, because I'm starting at an odd number. I'm saying x is an odd number. So it could be 1, 3, 5. And as I skip 2, 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. I'm skipping over those even numbers and staying consistent on the odd. So that starting point that we designate as x being odd, that's the key. So our second number is going to be x plus 2. Then what does that make our third number? Well, how do I keep going? If I'm at 5 and then I got to 7 by adding 2, how do I get to 9? I add 2 more, but how do I get from 5 to 9 from my starting point? I add 4. So I'm adding 2 more from 7 to 9, but then in total from 5, I have to add 4. So my starting point of still x, I have to do x plus 4 now. Because I have to say I'm going from this first page, or not the page, the code, first number in the code. First, second is the first plus 2. Third is the first plus 4. And then we are told that that's totaling 51. Now we're just solving again. X plus x plus x is 3x. And then I have some like terms here. 2 plus 4 is 6 equals 51. Subtract 6 from both sides. I'm kind of, my spacing is a little weird here. So 3x equals 51 minus 6 is 45. Divide by 3, x equals 15. I'm going through the back half a little bit quicker. The setup is the key there. So x is equal to 15. The directions should say find the integers. I don't know why I didn't write that in, but they should tell us to find the integers here. So the first one is my x, my starting point, which is 15. That makes my second one 17, and that makes my third one 19, because 15 plus 2 is 17. 15 plus 4 is 19. 15, 17, 19. 3 consecutive odd integers. There it is. Then I have one more. It's very similar, but this time we're talking about even integers. The process is exactly the same. I just identify x as an odd number now, or no, sorry, I was reading the last one, as x as an even number now. Whatever that starting point is, x equal 2, 10, 12, even number. I'm just calling it an even. So my sequence is the same. It says the number of home runs for 2 players are consecutive even integers whose sum is 118. So x is even, so my first player is x. My second player is a consecutive even integer, so x plus 2. And those two totals added together is 118. So x plus x is 2x plus 2 equals 118 minus 2. Going through the solving a little bit quick. 2x equals 116. Divide by 2. It's going to be 58, so x equals 58. So one player hit 58 home runs, and then the other player hit 60 home runs, 58 plus 2, consecutive even integers. The habit here with even and odd, excuse me, the habit here with even and odd is people read even and think, oh, I have to go by 2s because they're even numbers, or sorry, x plus 4. And then they'll see odd and think, oh, I have to go by 1s and then go by like 3, x plus 3, because I got to skip over. If I just designate my starting point as an odd number, and I can just go by 2s. Odd number is 3, so the next one will be 5, and continue from there. So it's the same exact sequence. It's just that starting point is what we're calling it. All right, yeah, so those problems will give people some trouble. So hopefully that helped you out.